All right, let me know when you're ready to go.
Shall I count us in? Okay. Ready?
Hi.
How you doing, my Hlabi?
Okay. Why are you shaking your head? It's true.
Hello.
Before we dive in, now I'm ready. Hello, and welcome to a very special episode of Quality Control Podcast with a question mark. First of all, today we're covering a South African television series called Spinners. We'll be talking about the first three episodes, episodes 1 to 3. Spinners is available to watch on um, Amazon. Wait, is it Amazon? No, man. Showmax. Is it available on Amazon?
South African Showmax. It's available on Amazon worldwide, and it's available on
Oh,
ITVX with premium here in the UK.
thank you, Fee. I didn't know the Amazon part, and it indeed did a bit. It made me dizzy. Right. We will get to our guest too. If you're watching on video, you can see their wonderful smile. We will introduce her in a moment. We'll start with housekeeping though. Fee, do your thing.
Knock, knock. Housekeeping. Hello, everybody. If you're out there and you're listening or watching, hi, we don't judge. We know attention spans, they don't. Anyway, just to let you know, if you've not already known before, can I English? I cannot English. It's because I'm living in England. Anyway, spoiler alert. We will be talking about Spinners, the South African TV series, so we'll be spoiling everything left, right, center, up, down, diagonally. And this is also an adult podcast made by, albeit some very childish adults, for adults. So if you are a young person listening to this, please make sure you have your parents' permission or that you're a good liar. Yeah, just, it's not on us. It's not on us. It's on you. We won't. We told you. Anyway, we are trying to get this podcast up and running. We want to elevate everyone's voices as much as possible, and we want to get South African work out there and on the radar of the rest of the world. The only way that we know how to do that and promote ourselves and everyone we have on the podcast is social media. So please and thank you. Give us a follow. We are on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and potentially on Blue Sky at some point. Our user handle is at Quality Control Pod. That's at Quality Control CNTRL Pod. No O's in the control, as Hlabi likes to point out. Also, I am constantly hunting for memes or feedback. You know, if you wanna shoot the shit with us, if you wanna send us a lovely meme, not enough South African memes. Put them out. Put them out here. Um, Send them to us via email. No DMs, please. We will not respond to DMs because we're too cool for that. Our email address email address is qualitycontrol.podcast11@gmail.com. One more time, qualitycontrol.podcast11@gmail.com.
Thank you, Fee. Let's get to it. For the first time ever on Quality Control, we have a guest, a very special guest, the wonderful, the intelligent, the smart, the beautiful, the stylish Kelly and Storom. Applause! Everybody's freaking out. I'm freaking out. I'm excited. Hello, Kelly. Thank you for joining us. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. I'm excited to be among you weirdos.
I'm excited to have you. Gosh, okay. So there will be after this episode an interview with Kelly in which you can learn more about her, what she does, her viewpoint, etc. Today she will be focusing with us on analyzing and discussing and going through episodes 1 to 3 of the South African drama series Spinners, which you can find on Showmax, Amazon, and ITVX in the UK and worldwide. Yes. Um, yeah, to begin the show, though, as normal, you know what we do. We have an overview of episodes 1 to 3. Fee, take it away.
Okay, episodes 1 to 3 of Spinners. Teenage Ethan Williams is living the tough life on the hills. Left alone to raise his kid brother, Ethan has dropped out of school and joined a gang as a driver to keep the roof over their heads. Tensions are rising between rival gangs, and much to Ethan's reluctance, he's involved in dragging a young man with Down syndrome into the fray and turning him into a casualty. Sickened by the gang life, Ethan stumbles onto a new group of friends who introduce him to the sport of spinning, or as Ethan and Feeya like to call it, making donuts in the parking lot competitively. Ethan attempts to set things right and leave the gang world behind, starting with getting the police involved and also joining his friends to start their own spinning team.
Wonderful. Thank you, Fee. Kelly, just to let you know, that is the shortest overview we have had on this show, and it's like I'm impressed. I'm like, damn, and it's coming from Fee, which is like she's always talking about. Oh no, I don't know how to do short overviews. I have dyslexia. Oh my gosh, I'm the Michael Phelps of dyslexia. I'm so great at it. I'm elite. I'm an Olympic champion of not being able to read words, and she's put through this insanely good overview. It's so precise. It's so concise, rather, and precise. Yeah.
First of all, I want to
Thank you,
ask,
Fee.
does Ethan actually say
Yeah.
donuts in an open space? Does he say that in the scene? Oh shit.
I don't think he says the open space, but he says the thing when you do donuts.
Ah,
And they're like, yeah. And he's like, no, it's spinning, not donuts. Yeah. It's like, no, I think he
doing
said
donut.
when you make donuts in the street. He's like, the fuck? Donut.
So
Okay.
before we jump into the thing, every Ramadan, and Ramadan's coming up soon, ladies and gents. Lenasia, my hometown, every Ramadan after Taraweeh, which is a special late night prayer that happens in Ramadan. All of the young boys in the town would go to a big parking lot, which was like there was something called Shell Select, which is Shell, the petrol station, and it had a couple of shops outside, and so it had a big open parking lot because the shops were closed at like 10 o'clock at night, and all these young guys would just be making donuts. And the next morning you'd just see skid marks everywhere, and you're like, oh well, hopefully nobody you know was there because the cops would show up. And it would happen every Friday, Saturday night in Ramadan until I left when I was about 14. So to me, spinning will always be making donuts.
And the smell of
Why the
tires
cops though?
burning.
Yeah. I, why are the cops coming though? You're making donuts. How is that
It's
illegal?
illegal. It's illegal because you're driving recklessly.
Okay.
You're people endangerment. So it
Okay.
is illegal, but it's fine,
Yeah.
because if you
You
can
know?
afford to have that BMW, you can afford to bribe the cop. 200, 400 rand, it's nothing to you.
Allegedly, Fear. Allegedly.
Oh, yes, allegedly. Skis. Yes, allegedly.
Okay. Okay. On that note, let's get into the very serious topic of this show. Um, we are going to start off our discussion on spinners, not talking about the show itself initially, but speaking on the demographic of people that it is focusing on. Yeah, so Spinners is focused on a colored community, and we want to have this brief discussion because there may be international listeners, and if anyone knows the musician Tyler and America and Western discussion on this term, colored, it has connotations that side, different connotations here at home. So we will start with you, Kelly. Could you could you enlighten us and yeah, walk us through the term itself of the word colored?
Okay, good. Because when I saw this question, I was like, I'm gonna put it to you guys first because I can start at like 1652 when Jan van Riebeck came onto our shores.
I feel like we will start and be there and we will go on that word. If it's comprehensive, go ahead and then we can move on. Do your thing.
um, okay, so colored, and thus I can reference from the book Race. Otherwise, you should find the book. It's a really awesome book. It's only 200 pages, but it's an amazing book around the theory of colored culture. Um, and so the first thing I would describe colored people, if we're talking to international audiences, we are creolized people, right? You guys, you like internationally or in the States, they would call them Creole, um, because we come from, we're descendants of various different races. So you've got the Southeast Asian community who come from, not Southeast Asian. Feeya, what's the other? But Southeast Asian, am I right?
Malaysia.
Malaysia,
Malay,
okay.
yes.
Yeah, Malay. Dutch descendants, Indian descendants, Khoisan is a big part, the indigenous people of South Africa. And yeah, and then the term colored actually, informed by the book Race Otherwise, was actually endowed upon us by the English when they were um, colonizing us. And I think the important thing to know, and I think they also the reason why the word colored came about is that we were separate from black. So they saw us as a level higher than black people in their eyes, um, because they did that to us. Sorry. um, yeah, and yeah, so we were more like accepted into society, and so they wanted to differentiate us from the black community, and we exist as a whole other population in South Africa, and I think we need to understand that there's a differentiation between mixed race people, biracial people, and colored people. Um, so I think mixed race people, biracial people, they tend to maybe describe themselves as colored, but I would disagree. Just in the sense that I am four descendants deep of the colored race. And that's because, and it wasn't incest. If that makes sense. uh, yeah. So I think that we've also got our own creolized language. Um, there's everybody knows Afrikaans, but we have what's called Afrikaans or Kombuistaal, which translates to kitchen language. So if you think about the slaves or the indentured workers that worked in the kitchens, who were the cleaners of the farmers. So they derived the language of the Dutch from like Nederlanders, Dutch, and then incorporated Malay, incorporated Hindu. There's actually a lot of words that are similar to words in Malay, and words in the Hindu language. Um, yeah, absolutely. And
Some one for one substitutions.
exactly, exactly, like chop, like chup still, right? Like how chup still, chup, chop. So yeah, so uh, then when you have apartheid, we were segregated into our own own sections, own groups, and then we were even sectioned more as koi, koi. what is it? So there was Malay colored and then there was Koi colored. And that was based on the texture of your hair. So interestingly enough, my mother's birth certificate and my birth certificate were classified separately. So my mother's birth certificate says she's Koi colored and I'm Malay colored, which is funny because she's my mother. And that was
Yeah.
based on the texture of our hair. Because my mother's hair is a little bit more curlier or coarser. Um, and I have a little bit what you call gladder, which is
Oh,
basically like finer hair.
okay.
Um,
Friday. Yeah.
so we are all uh descendants of the Cape. That's where we all started, and then made our way up into the Northern Cape, Free State, all the way to Joburg, and then you've also got the KZN coloureds who are more mixed with Zulus and Indians, and they are a very different type of colored. Um, and I think that's important to note is that we're all like Joburg coloreds, Cape Town coloreds, KZN coloreds. We're all actually quite different from each other. Um, but yeah, I think that's what categorizes us is that we have a long heritage of different races integrated into our bloodstream.
Hmm. Hmm. And so while while it is a race and there's a culture, it's not a monolith,
Yeah,
as you
exactly.
say, because
Exactly.
different sections yeah, there's no yeah there isn't a monolith, and I think that's important to say. Well, first of all, thank you for that breakdown, Kelly. And in that light, it's important to say that the show Spinners focuses on a colored community in the Cape, um and that's where the world is set, that's where the story takes place, and that's the identity and the core of that community. Sweet. Thank you so much. Yeah, if there are no other thoughts on that quick breakdown, are we ready to talk about the actual show, girls? Are we ready to see
Let's
that?
go.
We can face. We ready. We ready. Okay, so we're gonna start off as ever. One of the most common things on the show is first impressions of the show. This one have a bit of a caveat from me to you. I was the one who suggested this show to Feeya. I'd heard about it. I hadn't watched it yet, but knew that I wanted to. One of my colleagues, shout out Kamo, she loves the show and it's just like, and she's the one who really started that conversation with me of representation of colored people in South African television and talking. She is artist and creative as well. She works within the industry and talking about the thing of yeah, colored stories. And she said this just to paraphrase. She said, "We as Black creatives telling colored stories often lean into stereotype," and she really loved Spinners because of a sense of variety of the characters. And the people who are present. One of my favorites who stands out in that regard, I'll talk about later. But Fee and Kelly, I'll start with you, Fia, actually. What did you think? Because you didn't know about the show at all. What did you think it might be about? Because you had no context about the show.
I think I've mentioned on a previous podcast that my view of South African film and TV in general is that we really like our soap operas, our telenovelas. It's been a staple on our screens for 3, 4 decades now. And so we had our own version of a TV show called Scandal, which is not to be confused with the American show, which is also known in South Africa as The Fixer. I forget what the actress's name is, but it was basically Oh, I actually don't remember what the plot of Scandal was, but I think it was basically politicians and all the things that kind of went on behind closed doors. But it was very much a soap opera.
The American one.
Say again?
Wait, which one are you talking about?
Scandal, South Africa.
Was Scandal about politicians? It
Was
No,
wasn't.
it
it
not?
wasn't.
No, wasn't it about
Was
a
it just
newspaper?
love affairs?
Yeah, it was
I
about
think it was about a
the
newspaper.
American one. Yeah.
Yeah. I think you're confusing them. The American one was the politicians. The South African one was a newspaper, a tabloid rather.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
So
Mhm.
growing up in the 90s, one of my favorite sitcoms was actually called Spin City, and it had not Jamie Foxx, Michael Fox. Is that it? The guy from Back to the Future?
Michael J. Fox.
Michael J. Fox, before his Parkinson's really got really bad, and then Charlie Sheen took over from him, and it was about these guys who worked in the mayor's office in New York, and they just kind of had to pull spin. So every little political scandal that they had to spin it into something as a net positive for the mayor. And this is what I thought this show was going to be about. And you were like, no, it's about driving. I was like, huh? Oh, okay, that's very different. And then I was like, okay, I might be on board with this.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, because you think of actual spitting as donuts in the street. Okay. Um, Kelly, had you? I'm sure you'd heard about spinners, but had you known about what it was when I'd asked you to come on?
Yeah, I had known, but I hadn't engaged with it at all. So I was just like, "Ugh, another ghetto colored story. Here we go. Another misrepresentation, a non-nuanced look at colored culture." So that was my first reaction.
Okay, so you weren't going to watch it based on that
I
reaction that you had. She's like, I'm
I
not going to
wasn't
engage with
going
this thing.
I wasn't gonna watch it. But I have,
Okay.
but I have since then completely
I mean,
changed my mind.
yeah. Cool. Well, then let's start. Let's start there. First impressions, having watched the first three episodes of the show. What were yours, Kitty?
I wrote down a beautiful piece of storytelling. That's all I said. It's just a beautiful piece of
Sweet, concise,
storytelling. Mm.
like how we like it here. Yeah, very efficient, like how we do here. Fear. What were your first impressions of spinners? Unmute yourself, ma'am. You clown. I'm keeping this in
Yeah,
also.
I totally forgot. I totally forgot. Yes. So I said it was beautifully shot. Um, I've noticed like a really beautiful uptick in the production values of South African film in the last couple of years. Um, and I noticed the color grading had that specific South African blue yellow filter that we were very obsessed with on Instagram, like in 2012. But that looks so good. Like it makes everything soft and warm. And I'm like, yeah, South Africa. Um, yeah, it also works really nicely for the tense scenes because I don't know, those tense scenes are so tense, but just kind of like distracting yourself and looking at how things are filmed, I think helped me get through them.
Hmm, hmm. Um, yeah, just when you say beautifully shot, I think that's been it, amongst conversations with friends who work in film, television, and essay, and this conversation of like, yeah, there've been stuff that's been beautifully shot. There's a lot of young cinematographers and directors who have these beautiful visions of how things could look. What now needs to catch up is the storytelling to match that production value, that production quality. And I don't know, something like Spinners and Shaga Ilembe that came out. Was it 2023? Or did it come out last year? I think it came out 2023, that also really had great production value matched with really good writing and storytelling. So I feel like there's hope coming up there. Do you have another? Do you have any other impression, Fia, that you want to get to?
You were talking about the writing. Mine doesn't sound like it's connected, but my second impression was kids are fucking stupid. Teenagers are such morons, and I love this. I love that this is what they got across. Like every time a character made a stupid decision, they were a teenager, and I was like, I know exactly how this is going to pan out because this is so well written, and the formula is so clear, and I can see that they potentially are going to stick to a formula. Really excited about that. So every time I saw a kid make a stupid choice, I'm like, this is gonna come back and bite you so hard. And I'm not here for it emotionally, but I am here for it academically.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that I think that goes into my first impression of well written and well acted. Um and this idea of the teenagers being fucking stupid, these kids being dumb, leans into the tension that part of the tension that I felt while watching. I was anxious, guys. By episode 2, I was sitting with my stomach in knots watching because I'm like, why are you doing that? Don't do that. And every time something good happened, I was like, yeah, but now I'm waiting for the bad thing to happen. And I was on emotional edge for the first 3 episodes the entire time, and I didn't like it. I didn't like it. Did anyone else feel the same way?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I was like first episode, I was like, okay, first of all, this is a beautiful curation of colored culture because you know that first episode is always about setting up the environment, the context, like from the trap house to the cars to the guy walking with one arm behind his back. Like I just thought that's what it is, okay? And then we get to like towards the end and we get to the second episode actually was like that trauma, like it was a heavy episode. Um actually I was really upset with the second episode. And then what was nice about the third episode, it had a bit of both. Because then we get introduced to like
Mm.
the spinner world, but also Ethan having to now start to balance that. Um, but yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, and his desperation, Ethan's desperation comes across like the decisions are dumb, but they're coming from such a place of I need to get out as early as the second episode of like, oh shit. Well, I would say the end of the first episode when he spoiler alert taps up the homeless man to snitch on his behalf, essentially calling a tip to the police about a crime that he knows about. And that's the first like, bruh, he didn't have to do it that way. But it's the first that just first act of desperation that continues
yeah.
to tumble, and you're like, oh my gosh! Every time he does a new thing, I understand why he's doing it. I get it, bro.
Mm.
But no, do it another way. But yeah, cool, sweet guys. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so we're all on the same page about yep,
He's the quintessential tragic hero. Yeah.
and that's what I like about the performance of his character and the rendition of his character, the writing of his character, that he is the tragic hero, but he's very clearly our hero, you
Mm,
know?
mm,
And it may be like a simple thing to say, but as Fear said earlier, a lot of our stories deal in melodrama, with the telenovela, and I feel sometimes it can intentionally will lack that sense of nuance of
mm,
the tragic hero because everyone will have a sense of drama. But we're
mm,
following and viewing the world from Ethan's perspective, and it just it really paints the world. And again, this idea of representation, I think it's as simple as that of keep it tight, keep it focused on this person, and paint him as the hero, and we can then really see the world around him and how rich it is and how devastating it is and how beautiful it is. And
mm.
yeah, yeah, I'll get to that in terms of favorite things. Favorite things. Let's move on though swiftly to themes. Themes. Did anybody notice any themes What themes would you like to identify? What was resonating thematically? Kelly, we'll start with you.
For me, barriers, like the whole, like the way in which environment is like just crossing the street, going to like just like a street away is a whole different class of people. You know what I mean? Um, and like barriers based off of your skin color, the texture of your hair, how that, because there's a point where Robin says, "You look like a fucking bergie," and then Ethan punches him, and that moment is such an indication of the barriers within culture, but then the barriers of the environment. Because Ethan is smart, he's innovative, he's imaginative, he's skilled, right? Because like, and because he gets away with so much shit because of his intelligence and innovation, right? And imagine if he applied that at like, I mean, they set up an engine, guys. They stole the engine and then they put the engine. They stole the engine with a donkey cart. Oh my word. That was beautiful. Because we had the donkey cart. We had the donkey cart in the Eldorado Park. The donkey cart that picked up all the trash to pick it up wouldn't pick up. Like, oh,
Ah,
yeah. But no, so yeah, the levels and variances of things getting in the way.
hmm. Fuck, yeah, that's such a great point. And Ethan is so. I mean, at one point they talk about how he was a straight A student. He was getting A's in school, but another barrier, right? Of the barrier of circumstance, losing his father, and then we learn that he, like, when we introduced to his mother, who comes back into the picture, having been gone for months.
Mm,
Oh no, 2 years. I think she was gone for 2 years. Um, and she was a drug addict, and that first impression, he's really angry, like, oh no, another addicted. Nah. Then you learn that she got hooked onto drugs as a teen, got clean with the help of her husband, and he was that support system, and their love was so strong. He dies, and she has a very human reaction of going into despair and using again, and that causes her to abandon her children. And because of that physical, existential, emotional barrier, Ethan's like, I need to feed my little brother. I'm going to take my father's place, who was driving for a gang because of his own circumstances of losing work. And you're just like, fuck, fuck, fuck. The domino effect of one thing
mm.
happening affecting this family. That's a great
But
point,
also, if
Kelly.
you
Thank
think
you.
about, if you th-
I was Fear. Oh, sorry. Yes.
if you just think about those circumstances, those very same circumstances in like a white suburb, or just like
Hmm.
like where Shane lives, right? There's access to medicine, there's access to a counselor, there's maybe possibility for another job, right? And another parent that is able to better look after you. And yeah, that's
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a great point. Shane lost his mother. It's very similar to Ethan losing his father, but yeah, Shane's situation is not as dire as Ethan. Great point. Fee, any thoughts on theme?
It's just putting a word on what the pair of you have just said. I think the theme of survival came out so strongly. Like everybody is just trying to keep their head above the water. And despite the fact that everybody is from maybe a different level of class, they're all struggling. They are all struggling to just keep going and just keep breathing.
You, I think you also had a point of Damien fitting into this theme.
Yeah, so even Damien, like we get a shot of his house, and I don't know Cape Town well, but immediately when I saw the exterior of the house, I was like, whoa, that looks like a mansion in fucking Clifton, which is notoriously one of the wealthiest areas in the entire country. I think even more than Santon or some wealthy suburbs in Joburg. It's known for foreigners living there and having their own mansions that they only use at like European winter time. It's known for just very, very wealthy people who the rest of us can't even comprehend. So I don't know if that is where Damien lives, but even just looking at him and his extravagant, for lack of a better word, lifestyle in comparison to the people who were beneath him, you can see that this man is trying very hard just to maintain some sense of control, some sense of protection for his family. He's been diagnosed with some sort of brain issue, clearly. I don't think they reveal to us what that is, but it's clear he's going to die. And he now needs to hop into advanced survival mode to, keep his family sufficient when he leaves. So everybody in this food chain, no matter how high up they actually are, they're just fighting for this survival.
Yeah, yeah. For context, Damien is the gang leader. He's the leader of Ethan's sect, Ethan's gang that he's an underling in. And I think he has a brain tumor because there's a shot where he's looking at chemo options in episode 3. So some kind of tumor, maybe related to cancer, or maybe just a growth. But yeah, fuck yeah. Everybody trying to survive. My themes, I kind of picked out two that were going together. So the sense of despair, I think, is very prevalent. Yeah, particularly when we started episode 1 and the dire situation, and I think that leans into your two themes. I also noticed this linking of desire when Ethan is starting to get into the spinning world when he's first introduced to it, and there's this one shot of him and Amber locking eyes when she's just had her round of spinning. Really, again, really beautiful shots, and how the score comes in there, and you're like, look at this is filmmaking, guys. I was like, this is dope, and the sense of desire there of his like, shit, I want to be part of this world, and he had that very human young boy thing of, who is that? Oh my god! And she happened to look at him too, and she wasn't expressing a sense of desire. She was in her element. She was fucking cool. She was like, "Okay, my guy, cool, what's up?" And she drives off. And you're just like, "Damn!" But I think that's really the opening there of the sense of, before that point, Ethan wasn't really thinking of, I need to get out. He was trying to survive. It was very clear he was uncomfortable with some of the stuff he's being asked to do. But at that moment where he sees the spinning, and he sees this expert spinner in Amber, and he's like, oh shit. And now he's like, and then he starts hearing about the money that's involved in spinning, and he's like, I can use this to get the fuck out. So my two themes are desire and despair, also for alliteration. They do. um cool. Sweet, guys. Fantastic. Let us move on swiftly. Fear's gonna laugh at me because apparently I say it all the time, and I didn't notice that I say it all the time until you said it, and now it's on my mind. Thank you for making me self conscious about it. I appreciate you.
This is what I'm here for. I'm here to just, be a mirror for you.
I yeah, I don't need any more ego. So, favorite thing so far. Do we have favorite things, guys? It is true. Yeah, but I don't like you saying that's true. Like, I'm trying to be self-reflexive, and you're like, yeah, and I'm like, no, I'm supposed to get credit for being self-aware. Okay. Um, favorite thing. This can be favorite thing so far. Yes, in the first 3 episodes, this can be a character, can be a scene, can be a sense of style, it can be the wardrobe. Look, whatever it is, do we have a favorite thing or favorite things at this juncture? Kelly.
Too many, just so much. I really like wanted to like curate myself because I know I'm also like I'm not a very swift person. um, so, uh, okay, the first thing I just want to talk about is the cinematography. That like mentioning what you said earlier about this focus on Ethan and navigating through his world. Um, it's almost like there's this voyeurism in the cinematography. Like the camera is almost like a
Mm,
character in the world, you know. And that's what perpetuates that sense of empathy, that sense of um, you know, see like consciousness, you know, in terms of the representation, because he's not being seen as a caricature, and no one is being seen as a caricature. They're not a player in a game, right? They are the pieces, yeah, that like drive, and we get to be a part of that, and that's
mm,
it's absolutely beautiful, the way that's done. Also, Fear, with the writing, I actually was saying today to a colleague, like, I wonder how much was actually written, like scripted, because it seems to, like, the way it's so on point, like with the use of language. I wonder if there was kind of like just a prompt and a little bit, and then there was improvisation. You know what I mean? Like the fact that she's like, a little bit of eggs, a little bit of flour, canala, like, or like, I won't do it, kasam. You know what I mean? Like, it's so nuanced. It's so like the jokes. Um, it's really particular. And so I love that. And then shout out to Tony. Okay, spoiler. How can they do that? How can they take Tony away from us? Um, like he is, yeah, and like and it started with like the first episode where he's like, Peter Pan, die man wat die hele wereld ken. Like, why? Like, why?
but
He
like,
went off.
but
Like,
I feel
that was
like
just
why not though? You know, like
it
he
was just
like
of the
he's the
basis
why
that
not
this
guy.
guy
You know, as you're
he's
asking
yeah,
why.
just off of the base of this guy's name being Peter, we went on the tangent of, first of all, he's Peter Pan. Second of all, somehow, because he's Peter Pan, he knows the whole world. Like, yeah. So yeah, those are my favorite things.
Fuck. Yeah, it's good writing. And
It's very good writing.
if it
And I
wasn't
think Kelly might have a point actually about how much of it was
mm,
potentially improvised. Because the way that the language flows, like, there is no way that I can explain up here how South African English works. Like, even if you are in Joburg speaking to your friends, we don't just speak English. And I mean, there are some people that just speak English, but we're not talking about those people. We're talking about other people. We're talking about normal people. You always have a bit of slang, either from Zulu or Afrikaans, or if you are Afrikaans speaking, then you have slang from English. And there was that scene in Damien's house when Ethan walks in and they're now sitting on the couch, and there's this conversation that he has with his wife about the daughter, and then he tells the guys to get out, and it flows between two, three languages just seamlessly. And you're like, yeah, this is how these people speak to each other. There's a slice in a window here, and I'm peeking in. That's what it feels like. It's so intimate. And you're right. I'm now wondering how much of it was scripted. Was it all scripted in one language, and did the actors then take it on themselves?
Mm.
That's a Kelly with the juice, Hlabi. I'm sorry, but this week Kelly's got the juice.
don't be sorry. Yes, Kelly's got the juice. Yeah. Shit. It's it's like I think that point sticks out even more with some other stuff I feel like we've discussed in private. I can't remember if it's been mentioned on the pod at any point, but like some shows, particularly on Netflix, that I'm like, with the talking, and I'm just like, that's just something very English about all of this in a way that I'm like, this just doesn't feel like real people talking. There's one show in particular that I have qualms with. I'm like, and the tone of it. But then also, I think a great example is what happened to me today at the garage, the petrol garage. Is it an engine? I went to an engine today, one that I frequent. And so there's a woman who works who's seen me a lot. I've not really spoken to her that much beyond greeting. And today I elaborated something in my mother tongue about what I was asking for. And she went, "Oh, you speak?" She's like, "Yeah, Kulum." I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "My guy, I thought you only spoke the English. I thought you were a fancy guy." And I was like, "Nah, I'm from Eswatini." And we so we started talking about where I'm from, etc., etc., my family and all. And she's like, "Cool, you're gonna take me there one day," because she's never been. And just to your point, exactly there of like, to her, it was kind of unnatural, her impression of me that I was just this person who purely spoke English. And then when I laced in some vernacular, she's like, "Oh, okay. Oh, you're a human being." It was like the wave of energy that came off of her. Like, "Oh my gosh, okay." And I was like, "Cool, cool, 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 cool." So yeah, it's such a pertinent point. Again, you've got the juice, man. You've got the juice this
You've
week,
got the
Kelly.
juice.
Juice, juice. Hell. Okay. Thea, favorite thing on your behalf, on your part, your part, perspective. Oh, you know the things.
I know what you mean. I think
Yeah.
Kelly's already mentioned it, but you were saying something about nobody being a caricature. And yes, absolutely. Even the characters who were in there specifically for comic relief, was it Trevor? The guy who needed to take a poo and wiped his ass with some leaves, that guy. He was that's his role. That's his job. He is the comic relief. He's there. I also believe him. Like it's not just overtly stupid for the sake of being stupid, which a lot of shows, not just South African shows, tend to do. And I think they did such a great job of like balancing out these little comedic moments that are just farcical almost, in contrast to that gut twist. Like my stomach was like this for the first episode and a half. Like it literally felt like this. I had to sit in a heating pad because I was like, ah, ah. And then they knew they needed to give us a bit of like release from that. And so you see like these idiot guys who don't have so much at stake with their lives. These guys who are like middle class South Africans potentially just living their lives. And stupid teenager shit. Like I love stupid teenager shit. Oh, and the amber scene that we love so much. Like there was something about it that was just slightly over the top, slightly taking the piss out of itself, but also kind of it's now humorous because we're seeing we're seeing this teenager romanticize his own love at first sight moment, you know? That POV that Kelly mentioned earlier. Like, yeah, but also as an outsider, this is hilarious. Like, you're telling me the world stopped? Okay, you're young, it's fine. I believe you. I believe you believe that.
That shit was a split second, and to him it was like,
Yeah,
"Oh my god." On
like I could
your
hear the harps playing behind him, you know?
on your Trevor point, I think he's believable because they ground it, right? It feels like those guys have been friends most of, if not all of their lives. And in friend groups, your nature's kind of enhanced. Like I remember being a teenage person, a teenage friend. And I mean, you've been teasing me, like Fear teases me all the time for being silly and whatnot. You opened with that, Kelly, but I feel like it's also within context. But I was a teenage boy and was with a group of boys where some of my shit was turned up to the max unnecessarily. But because I was around my homies, and it's just like, how am I gonna make them laugh? I want to make them laugh. And I feel like that's part of what's laced in is that, yeah, Trevor's silly and funny and farcical, but he's doing it to and with his boys because he's comfortable around these people and there's camaraderie and history. And so he's silly by nature, and that gets enhanced when he's around his friends. Yeah. Naturalistic. Fucking spinners. Ugh. I'm falling in love with this show. um, and your commentary on this show. Do you have anything else, Fee, that you want to talk about in terms of a favorite thing?
Oh man, I love Uncle Gary. Uncle Gary, that's a dad. That is a father. Um, I think also again another point of Kelly's. Thanks, Kelly. You just said this all. We should yeah, should just let it be Kelly. Neither of
Yeah,
us
let's
need to
just
be
keep
here. Just
quiet.
let
Just
Kelly
like,
talk about
yeah, we
spinach.
can fuck off. Thanks, Kelly. Shit.
No.
Like just talking about representation and specific kinds of representation. There's such a nice aspect of showing us this man who's not only been in dire straits. Like he says it, and without being over explaining about it. Like there was one scene in the three episodes that got a bit exposition, and I was like, oh, I don't like how they did that, which was
Yeah, I remember
Damien
that.
figuring out his finances. They like
Mm.
explained it to us, and they were like, right, moving on. I forgive them for that. But with Uncle Gary, it was a show not tell, as we always say here on the pod. The conversation needed to be explicit with Ethan. It needed to show us, but also to show him, and to say that like I've got my eye on you. And it was so nice to kind of see somebody who might have been in Ethan's position and where they are now, and like a very settled, very grounded, still working fucking hard. I can't understand what it must be like to be a trucker and on the road all the time. But like compared to what Ethan's going through right now, this I would consider, more settled and more grounded and less dire straits all the time. And it's just nice that we get that representation, and we also get a positive dad figure, because sometimes, not sometimes, a lot of the time, this is absent in colored black community stories. And it's just nice that we get such a good one. I hope they don't fuck it up. Like Uncle Gary means too much to me.
Like Tony. Can't believe they took Tony from me.
Yeah, so early to like so yeah, Damon is brutal, guys. Like but even that is it wasn't gratuitous. It was violent in the nature of that is a violent act. But it wasn't this whole drawn out thing of like, yeah, we're gonna show how violent it is. No, like this is I need to do this thing. You don't betray us. Boom, done.
Mm,
It was that scene, that moment was
mm,
what, 30 seconds? The
mm.
whole thing of the act, the body, next scene. And the lack of gratuitous violence, the lack of gratuitous poverty. There
Yeah.
isn't a sense of poverty porn, which is another thing that can happen in these types of stories. Yeah. So Kelly did have a point.
Yeah, it's what I was saying about norms and values. In that like that that instantness is like he fucked up, now he's dead. That's how it works. You know what I mean? Like, he like, and
Mm.
all Damien did really is fuck up the party in a in a dark way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. What a way to say it.
but it's a fact.
Fuck.
You know what I mean? Like the things
Shit,
that
but yeah.
the things that would like shock us, and like for us, it's like, you know what I mean? Like that's how it works.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm. Mm. Yeah. Um, to finish off on our favorite things, I have was it two or three? I'll mix two of them together. Ethan's acting, the actor who plays Ethan, Cantona James, great acting. His performance so far, I'm just like, yeah, my guy, you've got the juice. Here, you're doing the things, and also just his face, guys. I was talking to a colleague today. I'm just like, yeah, that guy is good looking, man. And he's just got leading man looks. He just does. Like, I know we're in an age of of different types of representations, and yes, different types of leading man. But I don't know, man. I look at his face and I'm like, yeah, that's the star of my show. Shit, yeah, yes, that
That typical
jawline.
muscle of his. But
Oof.
also, like every time he clenches that one muscle, it does so much for his character.
Yes, kid.
No, I agree wholeheartedly. That thing, this thing.
It's and to that point, this leads into my next point. Like he looks like a leading man. We've talked about how it's shot, but my favorite is the great medium and close up shots that the actors get, and they do a lot of facial work with that. We just spoke about his jaw, his clenching jaw, how he doesn't have to say a bunch of things in that moment. He's reacting to something, and you're seeing that tension in his profile. um Also, it they, in terms of direction and cinematography, they give the actors that opportunity to communicate with their eyes. There's a lot that happens, and we know what they're thinking where they're at, because we can see what's going on, right, in the soul, right, the eyes of the window, and they give them that opportunity and lay that ground to, like, yeah, go express to us, emote to us. And it's that old adage, right, of show don't tell. There's a lot of showing that's going on, which I think is why that scene with Damien and the money sticks out with all this exposition, because it's like, you've been showing me this whole time and doing such a great job. That was like a random bout of like, oh, tell, and it's like, go. And then my last favorite thing is Amber, is Amber herself, the character of Amber. You've got this young woman who's, she's a dope spinner. Yes, she's a potential love, maybe not even love interest. As far as we know, this is all gonna be one sided from Ethan, of just be like, man, I'm infatuated with her. But even the way he talks to her, it comes across that he is like really infatuated with this person who spins. Like, holy shit, she's so good at this thing, and I want to spin like her. And he doesn't ask her to come hang out in episode 3 of like, hey, I'm going to shoot my shot in this way. He shoots his shot by going, can you come give us some pointers? Putting her in a position of power, acknowledging her strength and skill, and that the thing that she will identify herself with. And then when she talks about, yeah, my dad is always on me trying to make me the best spinner, he doesn't then go like, oh, but spinning is the greatest thing. So he just goes, "Oh, you don't want to be the best," because in his, and that conveys that in his mind, he's like, "This person is the shit and could be the best spinner in the world." That's how he sees her, and I really like the character of Amber, how she's been portrayed so far, and how she's been introduced to us. And yeah, it's, again, storytelling of female characters is regrettably not often as nuanced as it can be, doubly so when we talk about characters of color, right? So that is, I really like Amber so far and how she's being portrayed. Mm, mm, Gosh, there's going to be a lot of banging in this episode. I'm so excited. I just keep moving. I'm just like, so apologies, listeners, to the stuff you'll be hearing, because I'm just like, Masada. Okay, cool. We're winding down, guys. We're in the last third of our pod and our discussion. One of our last questions to, or I think it's going to be the last question to you, yeah, is what do we think is going to happen next? There are 8 episodes in the season. We've watched 3, so there are about 2/3 of the show left. What do we think happens from here, from where we've left off? Any thoughts? Any wishes that you think this might happen, but this is what you want to happen? And let's start with you, Fee. Um, any ideas on what's going to happen next?
Oh, like I said, the show is nice and formulaic. So I think that middle section, our stomach's going to be twisting twice as hard. There's so many chickens that are coming home to roost for Ethan, the poor boy. Yeah, he's just
Don't
been
say
involved
that.
in a shootout now. He survived it, and he's been tattled on. His chickens are coming home to roost. Damien's number two's already got it out for him, and he's gonna try and make his life harder, I think. And I'm worried. that Shane and the boys are going to get dragged into things that they don't want to get dragged in. I think we're going into dire straits. And then I think also because Ethan is so clever, he's going to find a way to get this all sorted out with the cops as well. And I can't remember his name, but Damien's number two. I think he's going to take the fall for the murder.
Herc.
I hope he's going to take the fall for the murder. And somebody else is going to start dogging Ethan for different reasons.
Yeah,
I don't like any of what she said there.
it's not gonna get
Yeah,
any
but you know if
better.
I'm
I
right or
can
wrong.
tell you that.
Because this show is so hard to watch. And like not in a bad way. Like I can't not help but watch it, but it's also so hard to watch. It's exhausting also because it's so emotionally like taxing. Like I'm in there. I don't want any of what she said to happen. You know, I don't want that fear. So I rebuke you, Kelly. What do you think happens next?
Are we talking about like the next third of the show? Or are we talking about the
The
end?
the next the next third, but this is a spoiler podcast. You can speculate about the end as well.
Um I think because it's such an emotionally taxing show, I'm not do I have when I answered that question, I didn't want to dwell on the middle because it's like Ethan is already in shit street, okay? Like every time you think this guy is gonna like have a moment to redeem himself, now he's in a you're like oh my god. So I just went straight to the end, and I was like, two things
Hmm.
are gonna happen because there's the cop from Joburg who's like quite sympathetic to Ethan, and then you've got the the bad cop who's obviously like you just got to put these kids in like because he's not even a kid to that guy. Like he's he's trouble. He's a gangster. Um, and so I think that I think he's gonna get caught and he's gonna have to snitch. And then when he snitches, someone's gonna get killed. Somebody's dying. Definitely, somebody's dying or shot or something.
Which somebodies though? In like the Shane's homies or someone from the neighborhood?
No, no. I think maybe his mom or his brother.
I rebuke you too. Nah, screw you guys. I rebuke you also. Jeez. Um, I uh, I don't like you guys now. I put no thought into this because I don't want to. No, no. No. I'm worried about Herc, and ooh, that's such a good actor. Side story: that colleague I keep talking about saw him Cape Town Airport a few months ago, and she
Mm.
was losing her shit. And she was like, "Yo, he just looks so cool." And I've been chastising ever since. She didn't talk to him; she was too scared. And I was like, he would probably have liked you going up and talking about how amazing his
Yeah.
performance was, but okay. And that there's that shot of him just sitting after the death of what's his name, Trevor, after Damien kills Trevor, and he's just you could just see he's boiling and stewing, and I think he's gonna make Ethan's life harder, but I can also see a world in which he starts to turn on Damien
Mm,
because like loyalty is one thing, but that was his
mm,
best friend and
mm,
brother, you know,
mm,
and there was no Damon hasn't presented any solid evidence that he was snitching. He's just saying that he was going to take a deal. We don't know if he had actually agreed to the deal or if he was being put in holding to think about it. Like, and so I can see a word in which Herc is like, you know what, actually, screw all of you guys. And I'm not so loyal anymore. So I agree that I think he's going to make Ethan's life harder, but I'm also wondering if he's going to stop becoming a thorn in Damien's side and start looking at that thing. I think it was you, Kelly, who mentioned, or it might have been you, Fee, who mentioned how Damien lives, and really that reality of like, that guy's living like this. And he'll have more time to focus on that because you just killed my best friend. And yes, this is the cost of doing business, but I didn't think he'd do that business on us. We weren't disloyal. There was no evidence that he was disloyal. You just said that he had gone to jail, and so he probably changed a bit. And it's like, but he went to jail for us, though. So yeah, I'm looking out for a little Herc action in the world of Damien. And while I rebuke you, I'm worried for Shane's gang, Shane's homies, that someone there is gonna get. And like, I was about to say we love Trevor too much. And when you say formulaic, that might be one of those formulas of like, yeah, we're gonna make you love this guy. The Yeah, and it'd be so painful. Ugh. But I can also see it being Shane with the speech that his father gave to Ethan of Shane is my world. When he said that, I got shook. I was like, no, storytelling gods, no. It's like the anime character who's a side character that we're starting to see his background, and you're like, oh, this person's about to die. It gave you that energy of like, oh fuck, we've just overvalued Shane. Why? So I'm worried about yeah, and I rebuke me too. Fuck. Shit.
Oh.
It's like shit spinners. Guys, let us wind down. Thank you so much for this conversation. This has been fun. Fuck, it's been great. Oh my gosh, I want you again, guy. I want you to come through again.
Kelly,
But
I don't think we've been this energetic in a pod in a long time. So
I think
bless you.
I think so. Hey, achoo. Yeah, you sneezed all over us, and bless you. Um, Kelly, you did. There is a song you wanted to. There's a song you brought to me that you wanted to highlight. I've agreed to. We will have a link to it. We'll have a link to the YouTube video. We'll have a link to the SoundCloud. But can you talk to us about the song? What you like about it? Why you brought it? Why you brought it to our attention?
Bizai Bushi Mary Fail Swag. Oh, I love that song. Well, for one,
It's so
the
good. I listened to it earlier. I was like,
so good. um, so one, like, can we talk about the soundtrack to Spinners? Like, they're putting like colored Afrikaans music on blast, and isn't it so good? Like, it's so good. But like, unless you know, you don't know. You know what I mean? But now you'll know. You know what I'm saying?
mm, mm,
And so
yeah.
this particular song is very near and dear to me because my friend Robin Phoenix Wright is on the song. Um, and Robin died last year in a tragic car accident. But was working
Mm,
her way to becoming what they call the bushy rap queen, right? And like hella
mm,
awesome representation. So listen to the song. It's such a great representation, particularly of Joburg colors. And go and watch the video on YouTube. The band is called Colored, KLRD, and their music is pretty great. So, yeah, I just wanted to give a platform for some awesome colored music.
with pleasure. We will put it up with pleasure. It's such a dope song. I was bumping it as I was leaving work. I was like, "Holy shit!" While we were talking about it, actually, I was like, "Oh shit! Okay, okay, Colin. Fuck. Okay, yeah. Thank you for that. Thank you for bringing it to our attention.
Yeah.
Kelly, thank you so much for coming through. This has been wonderful. As Fee said, you've given us a boost of energy that we haven't had in a while. Being, fuck, I know it was a joke earlier, but we're adults, guys, and yeah, ah, life is long. And so this has been pleasurable. Thank you for your insight. Thank you for your input. Thank you for your energy. This is your moment to highlight anything that you've got going on, any way we can follow you, social media, Facebook, whatever it may be. This is your time to shine a spotlight on that and where people can contact you if they so wish or if you want them to. Yeah.
Yeah, that's key. I'm a late-ish millennial, so I don't like phone calls. I don't like voice notes. Uh, like yeah, and like Hlabi even blasts me with reels on Instagram, and it takes me about 3 to 5 months to engage with them, but that doesn't stop him. But anyway, to see my work, to see what I do, to see how I participate in the world, follow me on LinkedIn, Kelly Storom, and send me a connect, and I'll absolutely connect. But if you like, if your bio's sus, then I'm probably not. But like, yeah, do that.
Okay. Okay. And that's Storom, Storom, right?
Yes, correct.
Sweet. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Fee. Thank you, Kelly.
Can I
I'd like
say
you guys to
thank
say
you?
bye. Say bye, Kelly.
I want to say thank you.
Oh shit. Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. It's been energetic and like a injection into my life that I needed. And weird thing on my vision board this year, I put like a person sitting on a podcast. So thank you for bringing my vision board into reality. Hey. So love you guys. Bye.
For,
Manifesting.
bye. Say bye, Fee. Love you
Bye,
guys.
V. Bye,
Yeah, she did
Kelly. Bye,
it.
Fabi.
Yeah, okay. I didn't say. I said you must say bye to the people. She does this every time. Every time I say bye, Fia, she repeats it like a 5-year-old, and it annoys me. Like I'm 5 years old too. God damn it. Okay, bye guys. Peace and chicken grease.